beautiful night, but it's Patriots week. To shipping local and nationwide, go ahead and order that online at PicassoPizza.net. Everybody's saying well, not everybody. Sarah said my mic. If you can hear me in the comments. But yeah, like I said, so Joe is a little late. He's going to be he took his daughter out for her birthday. So it's going to be he's actually having technical difficulty. He got home in time. He's going to jump on in here. It's Patriots week. Let's get to it. Is everybody excited and ready are y'all ready for this game? I'm ready for it. My man Chris Janke in the building. We got Tracy in the building. Daryl Domes is in the building. What's up, man? Pam, only 3 minutes late tonight. What's going on, Pam? What is going on? Let's see who we got. We got the whole crew in here tonight. We got the whole crew. My man David is in the building. He said, what's going on? My man Joe, he made it. What's going on?
Dude, technology sucks, bro. Technology sucks. And you nailed it in the text. Like when I said to you, my crap won't turn on, you're like, it's only when you're in a hurry. Yep. And that's 100% right. Only because I'm in a hurry, nothing works. Camera wouldn't turn on, microphone wouldn't turn on, nothing.
Every single time. Like every single time I do it, like whenever I'm rushing, it's like, oh, like the one time you text me and I'm like running home from a procedure and you're like, it starts in 4 minutes. And I'm like, I know. I try to log in and all of a sudden like nothing is working. So yeah, no, I get it, man. How you doing?
I'm good. It's Addison's 13th birthday, so I no longer have a kid that's not a teenager. She's a wonderful young woman, and I couldn't be more proud of just the kids that God has blessed us with. And for some reason, we're good parents. I don't know why. That doesn't mean that like we're bad parents or we should have been bad. I know that sometimes it works out for the good, and sometimes you do innate things that you don't necessarily know you're doing that work well with kids. We're blessed with two wonderful daughters. McKenna's 16th birthday is the 29th of December. So this year, well, this calendar year or this coming year, Addison turns 13. McKenna turns 16. Beth turns 40. I turn 50. You talk about a big year for birthdays. Holy cow. Right?
Holy cow. Like it's a year full of like major steps. Yeah.
Major deals. Yeah. A lot of major stuff going on as far as that goes.
Well, actually I do. I feel bad for your pockets because as the father and as the husband, that means it's work. I understand.
The good news is daddy's doing all right right now in the new job. So things are going well. Yeah. Things are going well. But super blessed. Addison's she's a wonderful girl. So yeah.
Well, happy birthday to Addison. I love your family, man. Your daughters are awesome.
They love you.
Yeah, they're amazing. So
yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah. So I started off the show. I actually had a couple issues myself. My mic wasn't working properly. So everybody's like, I can't hear you. And I'm like,
Bill Belichick.
It's the Patriots. They did it. They're cheating, even cheating our podcast tonight. But it's all good. We're here. We have a special guest that's going to be joining us any moment here, but I do want to, Daniel in the comments wants to wish your daughter a happy birthday, and I'm sure you'll probably get a few more of those tonight. But hey, we didn't talk today. Normally we did talk, but we didn't talk. Like normally we kind of pregame and like, okay, what are we going to talk about on the show and all that? We didn't do that. So I want to start off, unless you have something, because you normally drive.
I am we could probably switch where we are, because I'm
okay. Well, I want to start off. I don't know if you've been on Twitter since like your dinner with your daughter and everything.
Not really.
Well, Lil Dirty's acting up.
He said hi to Cole Beasley. I did see that.
And there's like, obviously we got John Brown back on the practice squad. Hopefully hopefully he'll be called up tomorrow. I just feel like he's playing some games. How would you feel, just first and foremost, because I've been on the train like, hey, I think we miss him. I think we miss Cole Beasley, or at least
on that train.
Okay. So how would you feel if that happened? Because I mean, I came prepared tonight. How would you feel if Cole came back?
I'm going to start with John Brown. John Brown and Cole Beasley were the first wide receivers to really begin to what's the word? Progress Josh Allen's career, right? And a big part of that progression was, for whatever innate reason that we don't necessarily know or understand, they got Dable's playbook. They just understood it. And they understood it in such a way that Josh understood it the same way. I want to use the word familiarity. I've been saying that for the last couple shows. Familiarity is not the right word, because it's not that Josh isn't familiar with Khalil Shakir. It's not that Josh isn't familiar with some of the other receivers on the team. It's more about the pre-snap read. It's more about what is about to happen based on what I'm looking at. John Brown, to me, that signing was all about the fact that Josh knows where he's going to be on the field when he runs his route. Period. End of story. Josh trusts Stephon Diggs the same exact way. You know who else Josh trusts? Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
So to me, I think there's definitely a struggle behind. We've seen it. We've seen Josh throw outs when guys are running ins, throw ins when guys are running outs, throw long when guys are stopping, throw short when guys are going. There's a disconnect. Familiarity is the word you want to use. That's not the word. It's not that he's not familiar with these guys at the pre-snap to post-snap standpoint. And it's all about an understanding of offenses. And I don't remember who taught. I was watching something. It was a couple years ago, and they were talking about, I think it was about JP Lossman. And they were talking about how in NFL offenses, literally the wide receiver comes to the line, they have a play called, but there's a combination of routes there, and Jerry Ostrowski calls them choice routes. So they have a choice on what they want to run based on what the defense looks like. And they have to be in the same exact page. Like Josh Allen has to read it the same way that John Brown is reading it, Stephon Diggs is reading it, Gabe Davis is reading it. And it seems like right now, the wide receivers outside of Stephon Diggs are not reading it the same way that Josh is. So that was a long answer to a short question.
No, I thought it was a perfect answer. I'm 100% with you. I feel like because we actually, and I know it's a running back and I know he's a rookie, but we saw that play against Detroit last week where, James Cook came out the backfield and Josh thought that he was going to kind of break out from, if you're looking at it from Josh's perspective, to the right, and he kind of like stayed where he was, or kind of broke to the left tad bit, and it was almost intercepted. And everybody would have looked at that as like, oh, Josh is making bad decisions, but it wouldn't have been a bad decision. It would have been, oh, we read that differently, and when you see that, it happens. And to your point about first John Brown, man, I posted a mini thread the other day of a couple plays, maybe 3 or 4 different plays where he ran like the screen play that they run for him, where it's like they have a couple linemen and then they have another receiver, maybe a tight end, jump out in front of him and just set up like a wall. And he turns like a 5-yard, he turns this thing into like a 50-yard gain. Like it's amazing what he does. Now, I'm not expecting him to come back and be the same John Brown. No, I know last year he kind of bounced around on teams. Last year, I have receipts. I said I felt like, well, he was injured. He had a knee injury, and when you try to rush back again, which is part of the reason why I've always with AC, even with Odell Beckham Jr., I'm the guy where I'm like with Trey White. Look, ACL injuries and knee injuries are not easy to just come back from. You're not going to be the same.
That's right.
When you use your speed the way John Brown does, I didn't think last year was the year. So now I'm not saying he's going to be that guy again, but I think if he's healthy and I think if he worked out and he did everything, I think he absolutely can make a difference on this roster, especially when, think about it. We don't have Isaiah Hodgins. He's out there making plays, getting them called back, but he's making plays in New York. And then, that was a bogus call, man. Like it had nothing to do with the play. Like I hate stuff like that. But anyway, I'm not going to talk.
You digress.
Yeah, I digress. But I think, with that being said, I think John Brown being back in this offense could absolutely help Josh Allen. I do have to say, because the mic was messed up at first, I do want to make sure I remind everybody you're listening to this on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. But yeah, so now back to Bees. My question for you about this is, I chose to wear this shirt for 2 specific reasons tonight. 2 specific reasons. One, the first one is obviously the reason why the shirts were put out was the shooting at Tops and everything that happened on Jefferson. The shooter pleaded guilty to all charges this week. So for me and my family and other families, I feel like that's a win. Still very upsetting, but a win. But then now I kind of want to try to move on in certain aspects of my life. So I'm going to wear the shirt tonight, and I'm going to talk about it from the aspects of, I understand we don't like certain things that people say, things that people do. Politically, some of us have differing opinions. I think you and I have some different opinions when we have certain conversations personally. Like when we talk,
but we
some
find
things
common
we agree
ground.
on.
We
Well,
find
and that's
common
what,
ground.
and that's, I think that's a thing that the masses don't seem to have.
Right.
Like,
right.
I feel like when you and I disagree, we can disagree. And then it's like, yeah, but you know what? I see where you're coming from this, and you see where I'm coming from that. And then we end up on the same page anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The masses just seems to pull out the pitchforks.
Mm.
I want to choose love. And if I know some people think Cole Beasley lost a step, I don't believe that.
No.
If Cole Beasley wants to come back, I want to be the first on record. I don't know if I'm the first on record, but I want to be the first on this podcast at least to say, Cole, come back home, man. Come out of retirement. Come back to Buffalo. Let's get this ring like we were supposed to do. Come do it.
Yeah. So I put a tweet out, and I don't tweet politically often anymore. I used to, before I got into this game, I tweeted politically a lot. Not that I was like totally like engrossed in it, but there was just an aspect of like, whatever you're saying is ridiculous. And I've always been the middle ground guy. So that part of me has never really not been there. I've always been kind of I see your point. I see your point. I think you're both ridiculous. But the hard part about all this stuff is we have been trained and conditioned to not listen. And our leaders, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, don't listen either, which empowers us even more to not listen. All that matters is what I'm saying, what I feel, what I think. And the hard part about this is all of us have different experiences. All of us have different upbringings. All of us have different surroundings. You and I are both sons of Buffalo. You and I are both sons of Buffalo. And we were raised not completely different, but different. We were just raised in different environments. We were raised around different people, different cultures, different things that mattered morally, substantially, inadvertently, whatever, just things that were important. One of the things we had in common was the Bills, right? So that brings us together, like first and foremost, and faith brings us together too. But just the fact that like we were raised in the same place and are different people, it should promote us to stop and ask questions. Why do you think that way? Right? Why do you feel that way? Why do you believe that way? And that's, I think, what you and I do well, and what we've always done well. Like we've talked about it on the show. There's times when I feel like I'm wrong, and I literally call you, and I'm like, straighten me out here because I'm missing something. And you're like, you are. And you explain it to me, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Now I understand what they're thinking versus what I'm thinking, and I know how to approach the situation. So Cole Beasley, and it comes back to Cole Beasley, the person, versus Cole Beasley, the player. Bring me Cole Beasley, the player, all day long. Do I care what Cole Beasley, he's off Twitter, but I guess he's back on Twitter. Do I care what Cole Beasley tweets? No, I don't care what Cole Beasley tweets. Do I care what Cole Beasley believes? No, it's not a representation of me. I'm not friends with Cole Beasley. He's not in my family, right? He doesn't work for me. Bring me Cole Beasley.
Yeah, like so the point that, or the issue that I do have with some people, when you say like Cole Beasley has lost a step and he's not good anymore. Listen,
I don't believe that.
You could say that all you want to. I feel like he was less than motivated when you go down there with Tom Brady. Not that you don't want to play with Brady, but he didn't have the offseason with him. You could tell that he was like, the fifth, sixth option on that team. So, there's just a lack of motivation when it comes to, do I really want to wake up every day and beat my body up to not really be an important piece of this offense? No, that's what I feel like I saw. I don't know if
I think Brady was tweeting him, hey, we need you. Yeah. We need you. And Brady was bottom spooning him, right? Like cuddling up next to him, like, hey, we could really use you. And Cole Beasley was like, whoa, you like me? Right? Mm-hmm. You need me. And then he got there and Brady was like, no, I don't need you like right now. Like, yeah. I think Beasley came in thinking he was going to be as much of an effect or as much of a presence on that offense and a teammate of Brady the way that he was on this offense, and a teammate with Josh, because he had Josh's ear. Josh trusted him. Absolutely. Whereas Brady was just looking for a guy that could get open.
I agree 100%. Like you said that perfectly. Right. And then, so the step further I want to take it to, you kind of talked about the political side of things. listen, politics, personal things, any of that stuff. A lot of times, once you reach a certain platform or once you reach a certain level in whatever profession you are in, and you become popular for whatever reason, I think that it's just difficult to really conduct yourself on social media. Like we even saw somebody who I think universally typically is loved. I think Lamar Jackson Sunday. Normally when you hear about Lamar Jackson, when you talk about Lamar Jackson, aside from those who think that he's not a great quarterback, like when, oh, you can't throw outside, whatever. For the most part though, when it comes to the person he is and who he is, everybody loves Lamar Jackson. Like I don't think I've heard somebody say anything negative.
I love this.
Something got to him.
I love this tweet this weekend.
I loved it personally. You sent it to me. I'm like, I love this guy. Now, I know some people took it like, hey, this was homophobic or, or however you took it. I don't personally, like where I come from, when you say the phrase that he said, it's not homophobic. It basically just means like you ain't, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's not homophobic.
It doesn't. You can't. This is a conversation you can't win, and it's not that you can't win because people don't understand you or know exactly where you're coming from. You can't win because people are too busy virtue signaling, trying to be upset for somebody else. That's why you can't win, and that I'm gonna be done with this conversation at this point.
Yeah, you know what?
Let's get myself in trouble.
Let's be done with it. And what I'll do actually is, instead of even taking that conversation forward, let's bring in my special guest for the evening. We want to get right to the Patriots game. We can talk a little bit about the Thanksgiving game because we didn't really get a chance to, you and I and my guest, we didn't get a chance to chop it up. But I want to get into this Patriots game. It's a big game. I have a special guest joining me, my guy, one of my brothers from another mother, my man Jeremiah Poyer. What is happening, JP?
Yo, what up? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you good.
All right. It's good to see you guys, bro. How you guys been?
Yeah. Good. He's my guy too. I've been hanging out with him at the tailgates, like up, chatting with his dad.
That's cool. I mean, you know what I mean? He mine though. He my brother. That's all right. But no, man, I'm glad to have you on. I'm glad you were able to join. I know you were pretty busy today, but look, man, I just kind of want to get right into a couple things. Like first, let's talk about the Detroit game a little bit. I don't want to, it's been a week now, so I don't want to, spend too much time on it. But I think everybody going into that game, as far as the fan base, felt like, yo, it's Detroit. We're going to smack them. We should beat them. Why was that game so close, man?
Well, when I go back to the Detroit game and the Browns game, and really any game where we're playing a team that people want it to be like a playoff game for the players every single week, to where we're going in to try to 40-0 everybody. You know what I mean? Like, but every week in the NFL is different. Every different challenges, different. Any win is a good win, and it doesn't mean if you win by 4 points against the Lions, it's any different than winning by 12 points in a game where you got 3 interceptions against Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like the wins are the same level in regards to the players. The players feel the same way about it. You get a win, it's all right, bet on to the next week. Let's see if we can fix some of the things that we made mistakes on. And then if we did something well, let's try to amplify it. We ran the ball well for the last 3 weeks. And they've been trying to amplify that because when we get to the playoffs, that's something that's going to be needed going forward. So I don't think the playbook's been super open the last few weeks, and I know we've been scoring a lot of points anyways, but people have a lot of complaints about how we're winning, and you just got to accept that the games are going to be tough, especially in the regular season, especially with the injuries that we've had, and moving forward, it's going to be tough games. It's not going to be like maybe we get a blowout every now and then, but.
So I had a question that I wanted to ask you that I'm going to get back to, and I just took a note so I wouldn't forget it because that's how my brain works. I forget things all the time. But you just hit a point, and it was a point that we were just talking about. You just said that the playbook isn't as open as maybe normally it is, and we were literally just talking about the fact that John Brown is back on this roster, and then obviously the potential for Cole Beasley to come back because Josh Allen isn't – I'm not going to say it that way. The receivers outside of Stephon Diggs are not on the same page as Josh Allen, meaning Josh Allen has a familiarity and an understanding of the playbook that John Brown has. Cole Beasley has demonstrated that when they're at the line, they're seeing things the exact same way. And all we've seen for the last 4 or 5 games is wide receivers on the Buffalo Bills that cannot get open except for Stephon Diggs. Do you feel that that's why? That there's a limiting factor that like right now they're just not jiving together?
I don't want to. They're two separate points. So I think adding Cole Beasley and John Brown, which would essentially, I think, move Diggs to be free to play in the slot more often than he has been. I think that those pieces add a short game passing that you don't really have somebody that can get open whenever they want because their route running is just that that good. But I also believe that teams that play us are not they're not going to sit here and let you throw 40 50-yard bombs to Gabe Davis all the time. Like this
Right.
is not it's just not they're going to take away what's strong for us, and in that point it's quarterback running the football, and it's dropping 7 in the zone or seven guys deep, and making sure that we have to nitpick just like we do to Mahomes
Right.
for the majority of the game. So I don't think that I think that adding those pieces would be a beneficial for Josh, because now he has an outlet that he hasn't had with the running backs because of his continuity with the running backs. There was a tape of Cook. He's running a little underneath route, and he's right behind the center and nose, and like that little continuity to where like you need to get to an open space where your quarterback can see you, whereas Josh is trying to throw it around the center and almost throws a pick. And so like that little continuity he has with a guy like Cole Beasley, he doesn't have with the running back so far yet. I do think they're two separate points, but I think that those two guys could help you, Brown and Beasley, and I also think that and Odell, if I don't know how that's going, but they help you in certain ways to open up the underneath game.
So he's got the prop. We're gonna rename you to props the king.
Come home, man. This is home. Come to Buffalo. This is where you should be, Odell. This is where you should be.
That's the one conversation. So for me, I will say this, because the question was brought to me, and Jeremiah, you can answer it as well. Are you ready? Do you want Cole Beasley back? Would he help this offense? I said yes. I want Cole Beasley the player back. It has nothing to do with Cole Beasley the person. But to me, Beasley is the option if you don't get OBJ, because I think OBJ will see and read defenses the exact same way that Josh will, which is what we're talking about. Getting to the line, looking at the play that was called, looking at the defense, and your brother, right, is a safety. So he's probably downloaded all this stuff to you as far as what he's looking at, what the receiver's looking at, the chess match that's being played. And the fact is the receivers are not on the same page. I think OBJ could come in instantly and be a part of a very successful part of this offense. And if he goes to Dallas, maybe you figure out a way to get Cole Beasley here for 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, that would come down to Cole. I don't see why the Bills wouldn't call him. I call him, see what shape he's in. If you don't get a guy like Odell, but like it comes down to if Cole wants to. You know what I mean? He's had some rough patches with his outside of football stuff and with the fan base here. So I get it. It just depends on what he wants to do. If that ring is something you want to chase, then by all means, I think he'd be welcome back here with open arms.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I think so too. I think for the obviously, I know we were just talking about Isaiah McKenzie, tweeting him saying what up, and they kind of had a little interaction there saying he missed him and all that stuff. But I mean, generally the locker room as well. Like the guys in the locker room love Cole. Like it wasn't like I know what like the media try, and I guess now we're technically part of the media, But I know what the media sometimes tries to interject and make people think, but. Outside of Cole Beasley ticking off the side of the fan base that doesn't agree with his political takes, the locker room love Cole.
Right.
So, I understand that sometimes, he says some things about the organization and about the way the fans may have treated him. But, hopefully if it gets to that point where, they really do reach out to him, hopefully it's something that I love Cole, man. Like, and I've said it multiple times publicly. I think Cole, regardless of what your beliefs are, man, like that dude, he hasn't lost a step either. I hate when people feel like that, like because they don't play for a year. It's like, oh, he lost a step. No,
4 months, not even a year, like 2-3 months. He's been all right, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reality is there is nothing that Cole Beasley did, probably or has said, outside of some inferences that were made and some connections that were made, dotted lines that were strung together recently, that was anywhere near more crazy than anything Aaron Rodgers did or said. And people love A-Rod.
Well, first of all, a lot of
people
don't
hate
like
A-Rod as well. People hate A-Rod as well.
I don't see A-Rod hate on Twitter anywhere.
Man, oh my God,
you're not looking.
You're on the wrong
you're not looking.
People hate A-Rod, man. But the thing is, he's 12. He's the quarterback, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've seen. And I know Cole Beasley is one of the greatest slot receivers we've seen, but I mean, a receiver compared to a quarterback, they're not going to get the same love. But
fair, agree.
He gets love, and it's not that. It's similar to any player. Like you get love, and sometimes it's shouted, and you feel it. But like when the hate is shouted, you feel it a lot more than when the love is shouted. And that's just an inner person. That's anybody. I feel like if somebody comes to you talking a lot of mess, like, I feel like that hits you a little bit harder in your mental than if somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, I really appreciate what you do." Both hit your heart and both help you, but I feel like you get a little bit more angry and vocal when somebody's talking about hatred and stuff that you do, especially off the field.
Yeah, for sure. You have a very unique situation or standpoint as it pertains to being a fan, because your brother, we sit here as fans, JSpenceTheKing and I, and we make projections and we have thoughts and beliefs, and we talk to former players and they give us insight. But your brother, right, is a member of this football team.
That's all pro po. Wait, you got to say it the right way. Like, that's all pro po.
And Spence started the show just talking about I've just lost my train of thought because you threw me on the all pro poll.
I'm sorry. We gotta put respect on that boy name. We got just be oh, that's what it was. As far as a win is a win. So it doesn't matter how close the win is. It doesn't matter if we blew them out by 25 or 30 points. It doesn't matter if it feels like, they escaped a win, which they did on Thursday, and that embrace between Josh and Stefan was literally spelling out across the screen, we escaped this situation. From your perspective, do you see, is it just day by day? Is it week by week? Or is there something going on with this team where they're trying to work through some issues, work through some problems?
Everybody, it's the same. So yes, and yes. Every team that has ever won a Super Bowl has a little patch or a couple weeks, or where there's never been a team that's just been super dominant. Maybe one or two teams that's been super dominant through a whole entire season, no problems whatsoever. Because now if we go into the playoffs and we beat the Chiefs by 20 or 10, nobody's going to remember that we barely beat the Lions. Nobody's going to remember that we had a close game against the Browns.
Right.
All of these every day, every week is you play the game, you try to win at any means necessary, and then you take from the game what you did wrong and you try to work on it individually as a team. And if you try to work on that specific thing, maybe something else lacks the next week, and it's just a whole week, a year of ups and downs that, as a player, you just try to stay even keel. And they talk about it all the time. Don't ride the roller coaster. Diggs says it a lot. Jordan says it a lot. Vaughn talks about don't blink. It's similar. It's like you just keep moving and you win how you can win, and you try to work on the things that you've not done well, and you try to amplify the things you have done well. And at the end of the year, you want to play your best ball at the end of December and the beginning of January and the end of into February. And if you can do that, it doesn't matter what you did throughout the year, as long as you got wins that were gross. The Patriots had many disgusting gross wins during their little reign, and it's like people forget that all the time. And at week to week, we have these close games sometimes, and people are so like, dude, no way we win the Super Bowl with this team. Like, dude, it's a whole year of roller coasters. Like, you just gotta ride. You gotta ride it as a fan. It's tough. It's tougher as a fan because you can't really do anything to help improve the team. Like you can as a.
And I'd be mad. Jeremiah, he be going off on me. Like every week, he's like, dog, you tripping. Like, you really got to relax. But one more thing about Thanksgiving, and then we can move on, because I do want to really get into this Patriots week. I know it's not the Patriots of yesteryear where they have Tom Brady and they're dominant, but it's still the Patriots week, and it's a big game for us. So I do want to get into that. But one last thing about Thanksgiving, Joe, I almost disowned Jeremiah and Jordan And I think their mom almost did too, because they basically was
Oh
out there
my
talking
God.
about how sweet potatoes or yams are not to be included.
Nasty.
It's like the worst. I'm gonna just tell y'all. Yeah,
Nasty.
Jeremiah, you're currently living in Western New York, correct?
It's nasty. Similar to
Jeremiah,
gluten.
are you currently living in Western New York?
I'm currently living in Western New York. Yeah.
I need to get you to my house, bro, and I need you to have some of my family, my extended family, my in-laws, sweet potato casserole, because I hated sweet potato casserole growing up. My 13-year-old does not eat crazy weird foods, and legit, bro, it's freaking banging. Like if it's done right.
he had.
I don't want to be rude if it's not good, and I'm gonna sit there
I'm
with
good
it
with
in my
that.
mouth.
No, we'll set that. It'll be like, no, try this, and if
It
you
even
like
has
it,
a nasty yams. Like, dude,
He hit me with the
yams.
He hit me,
It's gross.
Oh, your mic's cut out, Jay Spence.
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
He said anything orange shouldn't be on your plate on Thanksgiving.
Correct.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, first of all,
It's fall.
and I'm like, you know what? Like,
orange is terrible.
yo, his mom's
Oranges?
on Twitter. His mother was like, where did I go wrong? Like, what did I do wrong?
It's nothing you could do about nasty food. I can't help that. It's just not
Anything orange is terrible. Oranges.
I can eat
mangoes.
pumpkin pie with whipped cream on it. That's about it. That's about anything orange that I can.
I mean, let's be honest. Peaches are orange. The inside of plums are orange.
During Thanksgiving, it just tastes worse. Peaches.
I'm done. Okay. I'm done. Okay. But anyway,
this is the fair part here. So Jessica Tennis says sweet potatoes are a food from the South, and your family's from Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, Northwest.
Yeah. So maybe there's some, I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. Do you want to move on to the Patriots?
Yeah, because I mean, I almost disowned him again because he said it on air. So
Jeremiah, just know that I would never disown you. I'm
being honest. Crazy.
Jay Spence is the guy that'll tell you that I find the good in everybody. Right?
He almost got blocked. He got a short list. For me, it's a short thing when it comes to that block button, and he was real close to it, and that's my dog.
It's crazy that you would block me for yams, but all these other people that be talking nonsense during game day, you don't block them though.
Oh no, man! You want me to? I screenshot you when we get off of this. My block list. You gonna crack like you gonna die.
The list is long and distinguished.
Yeah, it's long. But yo, let's get to the game, man. I want to start. We're not going to talk about like anything outside of the norm as far as your brother's concerned, but I do want to talk about the defense. I feel like you mentioned a minute ago, you were talking about how there's ups and downs and there's a roller coaster throughout the season. I feel like when we came into the season, the Bills defense was looked at, and obviously Michael was still with us too, and now he's out on IR. We got Trey back now, so I think that's going to be a big boost once his rep starts to kind of ramp up. But the defense just doesn't feel as dominant as they did that first part of the season. Is there anything that when you watch the game, or even when you talk to your brother or whatever, like whenever you have a chance to just like break it down, what do you think has changed other than like, obviously the like Vine is out now too. So other than injuries, what is it that you feel like is absolutely changed with us that makes us not appear or feel as dominant as we were?
So I looked at, I think there's a stat out there about how many games this year we've had starting with the same lineup. And there's maybe one or two with the Rams and then going into the Titans game. And when you missing key pieces, we miss Tremaine. He's a guy that I call it calming, but he's a vocal guy on defense. And you miss Jordan, vocal guy on defense. Micah, vocal guy on defense. Like these are all, and then even Trey. Like you don't have Trey for part of it. You're rotating cornerbacks every game, and some are hurt for some games. Like people just want them to hop in and pick up like nothing. And I get this whole like next man up. I get it. It's a big fan. You'd say it on air, but like it's just not like that. Like it's just not next man up. Always somebody's gonna hop in. You're gonna lose some because you're used to playing with one guy so long, and now you're playing with three new guys that you haven't played with yet. And it's just like, it's hard without reps together when you don't have a lot of reps together, don't have a lot of practice together. We're not practicing but 1 to 2 days a week because of sicknesses and injuries. And like, dude, I don't know what the expectation is for the defense when you barely get practice, but I feel like we would be exceeding it if you really look at the wide scope of how the defense is playing in regards to how many injuries we've had on defense, with Milano missing games, Maine, Micah, Jordan, Trey, Dane Jackson missed a game. Every starter on our defense, I think, has missed a game or is going to miss a game, if I'm not mistaken. And that happens to every team. That's why the expectation, I think, is the difference, is the fan expectation. They expect a dominant defense, and they're sometimes with some of the twos in, you're just not going to get it. And that's my personal opinion. That whole thing is my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I agree with you. It's just, I guess, coming into the season too, like the way I'm guilty of it too. It's like, oh, our team is deep. We got the deepest roster. We got guys that's the backup that should be the starter on other teams. Like we talk that talk, and then when the depth gets challenged, it's like, okay, maybe we're overstating how great some of our. And that's not a shot.
Right. To be fair, they're winning. They're still we're 8-3 with the amount of backups that we've had to play with, and that's not normal. Like, if we didn't have as good of backups as we've had, these games that we've been winning lately are probably losses. I would assume. Like, and there's even the losses we've had with backups in. It's like it's 3-4 plays. We're 3-4 plays away from being undefeated this year.
They are 8-3. They've lost 3 games by a combined 8 points. Like total between all 3 games, and they literally have hurt themselves in all 3 of the losses.
Exactly. And it's not like we're doing enough to be there at the end, and then like you miss those key plays from those key guys that might have been out, where those plays are amplified because you lost. And and that's what it's a clutch factor that I patent Jordan's ability to not make mistakes at the end of games. That's what my favorite part of it is about Jordan, watching him play. So,
fellas, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm gonna jump out. Apparently, she just got out of the shower, and we're gonna watch something together as a family. So,
tell her happy birthday.
Yeah, you guys talk about this Patriots game. Let's bring this dub home. Big dubs. Let's bring this
big
dub
dubs.
home.
Big dubs.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Jeremiah, you gonna be at the Jets game, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I'll be at the rest of the home game.
I'll see you at the Mafia House at the Jets game.
All right, boss. Good to see you.
Yep, Spence, love you, dude.
Love you too. Happy birthday to her again. Tell her I love her.
Yep.
Let's go. All right, so Joe's out of here. So let's finish this off, man. So let's get into the game. Look, I'm not nervous at all, but I also realize that we're not going to have every game where it's like we don't punt against these dudes, right? So I feel like that might be a little different tomorrow. We're going to punt. It's going to be some things that, there's going to be mistakes tomorrow. It's going to be a completely different game. First, looking at it from a Buffalo Bills perspective offensively, what has to be the game plan going into this? Because like we mentioned earlier, we don't have the same receivers we've had. We don't have guys that are getting open and on short routes and doing different things. So if you were Ken Dorsey, how are you coaching this team up for tomorrow?
Personally, what's worked in the past cup 2 games, I think we won the last 2, lost to the third one. Yeah. So Isaiah's been a huge factor because we run a lot of crossers and play actions. We ran the ball well in most of the games, and like I think that still receiving wise, we're gonna have a big game. I think Josh is gonna have a big game throwing, but I think it's gonna start with running the ball well early in the game, because Belichick is one of the goats. Some people disagree with it, some people don't, but he's gonna take away what you do best. And so I think that the Bills have found a way against this Belichick-led defense. Even they were good last year, they're good again this year, to pull out wins and to start by running the ball well, play action, crossers. John Brown had a big game a couple years ago. He was the one that routed up Gilmore, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so long routes, like that starts with running the ball well. Long routes where we want to open up our receivers, it starts with running the ball well. And I think that Singletary will have a big first half, and then we'll open it up in the second half probably.
Man, talk that talk. I need a Singletary touchdown tomorrow. Part of my parlay. I need him to hit that. I need him to hit that for me. You know what I mean? And I need him at least 59 yards. You got to give me 60, Devin.
Right.
Come on, Motor. Do that. Give me 60. Right. But so So on the other side of things, and if you're talking about the Patriots and you're talking about their offense, I feel like really the only person I'm afraid of when I look at that team is Ramondre Stevenson. They have guys that can make plays if you give them enough opportunities, but this season I just haven't seen them really take advantage of most of those opportunities. But they had 2 good games in a row. I feel like the Vikings game, they look pretty good. It's just that the Vikings, man, that dude Justin Jefferson is different. What do you feel like from the Patriots perspective they have to do in order to make some things happen?
Right. Similar to the offense, on first and second down, our offense needs to get into third and short early in the game. That way we can open up the offense on third and short. Our defense has done an extremely good job at limiting people on first and second down. They just have to get off the field on third down, which the Patriots aren't a very good third and distance team, because Mac just, I mean, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to say anything bad about Mac, but I think that this defense is patented ready for first and second down, stopping the run. They've been doing it early on in games, especially. I know late in the Green Bay game, we gave up some. Like even people after 1 and a quarter games were saying our run defense is bad when we've kept the 3 best running backs that we've played. Or 2, I guess. Dalvin Cook went off, but the 2 best running backs that we played to 30 yards or less. And that's by stopping them on first and second down early and making them pass late in the game.
Yeah, 100%. On which I feel like our run defense is a lot better, but we also don't have Von tomorrow. So I think that's something that's going to affect that. But real quick, before we can finish that discussion, we got a super chat from my man Carl. He said, "Hey guys, I'll just leave this right to you, man." He said, "Hey guys, pass protection may be the key. Our Greg Rousseau versus Trent Brown and Matt Judon versus David Questenberry, the matchups to watch tomorrow."
Yes. In both senses, I think running wise, I think we need to get out on the edge running, and Judon is that guy that kind of sets the edge on their team. And Rousseau's got to be big. He's got to fill in that role for Vaughn, and if he's playing, I don't have the. Was he full participant today in practice?
Yeah,
Greg. He was okay. So yeah, so Greg's got to set the edge. Run wise, Vaughn's been doing that this year. As good as a pass blocker as he is, Vaughn is elite at setting an edge in the run defense as well. And so you can't replace a guy like that, but Greg is on the up and up, and I think Greg will be a superstar in this league at some point.
Well, you know what? When you talk about that too, man, we spent a lot of resources, like a whole lot of resources on, on edge. Like we drafted, Greg Rousseau, we drafted AJ Epinesa, we drafted Boogie Basham, all first or second round picks. At some point, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but at some point with Von or without Von, these dudes have to live up to their draft status. You know what I mean? Like it's time. And here's the injury report. You asked, who practiced and who were out. It looks pretty darn good to me.
It looks good. It looks good. It's better than it's been, at least.
So for everybody, before everybody listening to this via podcast form, the only 2 that are ruled out as of right now is Deion Dawkins and Von Miller. Tight end Quentin Morris is questionable. He's been out with an illness. It's been an illness all around the locker room, man. I hope everybody really, because the flu,
I got
man,
sick
and
from
stuff
it
like
too.
that. Man, that's crazy. Tell Jordan to stay home, man.
I spent. They brought it.
Yeah, that's what
went to Detroit and brought him from Detroit, and I got a little sick too. But it was a quick one. It was like a quick little shivers, cold, and a lot of people that traveled fans wise too got it too. I was talking to Kristen Kimmick, and she had gotten it too. So I'm glad everybody was able to get a little bit better. We all felt it like Sunday, Monday, and now going into Thursday, we're good. So
yeah. So okay, but back to what we were talking. I just had to throw. I wanted to throw that up because you asked who was injured or not. So I didn't. Did you forget your point? I'm sorry.
No. I think Greg's gonna do his job. The young guys that we signed, they just have to be able to. Greg's got to step up into that like superstar DN role, I think, during this game, while Vaughn's out, and he's gonna have to ride that momentum. And then everybody else got to do their 111th. I'm not sure if AJ is still fully healthy. I know his ankle. When you come back from an ankle injury as a D lineman, and this is something I know, you're never like fully 100% until a couple weeks of playing on it and getting getting used to it. I think Shaq will. I agree with Jessica. Shaq is going to ball out tomorrow. I think he has a lot of TFLs.
I think Shaq has been balling all year, and there's been a couple times throughout the year that I've tweeted out like, "Yo, Shaq is a dog," and
Yeah.
I think because obviously he left and he came back, and then he didn't get the huge contract, but I feel like the expectation for him to ball out isn't the same as other players. But I'm gonna tell you, he big time, man. He shows up every single time he's active for this team. So
It's
like I
different.
don't, yeah,
It's different when you're playing in a situation where you're happy. And I've
yeah.
said this a lot. When you're happy and playing in a situation, you play at a different level. Like you play with no worries, um, no concerns, and it seems like he's a lot happier here than he's been in previous years.
Man, this is what I'm not gonna go into recruit mode, but this is what I've been trying to tell your brother too, man. Like, you know what I mean? Just be happy here. You've been all pro here. Yeah, just stay. But I we're not gonna get into. I've been trying to recruit him back. I want I've been going crazy on these shows. It's him. I'm definitely trying to keep Tremaine. Tremaine is my dog. The defense that we've built, man, like to be ranked what they've been ranked consecutive years, like 3-4 years in a row like this. It would break my heart to break it up before we did the thing. Like I need us to go ahead and just get that. And if this is the year, great, then let's repeat. Like don't leave when we get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like let's and I guess I'm greedy in that sense. And
It's the
I don't know
fan.
if the players, it's the fandom in
It's
me, but
the
at the
fan.
same time, man, you know how long it's been since we've had a great team?
And to keep one, it takes a lot of making sure that you take care of the priorities, and then
Yeah.
a lot of making sure that you're able to build up young guys. And I think they've done that well here for the most part. Um, and if it makes anybody feel any better, we would love for Jordan to retire here in Buffalo.
Yeah, no, and Jordan has come out publicly and said that, and that's all. Like, I feel like that's all I feel like we should say tonight, so we can move on. We got about 10 minutes. We got about 10 minutes left, so I do. Let's flip it to. We talked about what our offense has to do and what their offense has to do. Let's talk a little bit about their defense a little more. I know the question was there, so we touched on Matt Judon. This dude is leading the league in sacks. He is a monster, man. When he was a free agent, I wanted him in Buffalo. With Dion being out and with Spencer not playing up to, I'm not saying nothing bad about Spencer, but he's not playing as great as we would like. And I'm not saying that just from a fan perspective. Just straight up, he gets beat sometimes and at moments that he shouldn't get beat. It's not we're not seeing what we want from Spencer. What do you see from that matchup all around? Like just them defensively on our offensive line that without Dion, we're beat up.
I mean, it's up to, in my opinion, it's up to Ken. Like the running backs, the slots. Like when people, O-line is one of those where, like, if you have a mismatch, you have to scheme up a way to help your O-lineman block. And you have to understand that it is a mismatch. You have to not be prideful and understand that there's a mismatch on the D line, and scheme something up. Whether it's a running back cracking back, lining up in the slot, cracking on the tackles, helping out, whatever it may be that you want to scheme to help your O line if they're hurt or whatever it is. He's got to figure out a way to give Josh some time to throw the football. And that also starts with running the football well, which I think our run blocking has been a lot better, even though people look at Spencer not pass blocking very well. I think our running blocking as a whole has been pretty good so far in the last few games. If we can run the ball early, it'll help out our line a lot.
Okay. Well, I'm with you there. Let's get into this last part of things. So everybody in the comments, y'all know how we do it. This last few minutes, we always do a game prediction and we do a Josh Allen stat line. If you want to participate, cool. If not, this is what I'm gonna ask you to participate in, man. This is my parlay for the week. So every week I do a parlay sponsored by DraftKings. Check out the pregame rumbling pod tomorrow morning that I always drop the day of the game. I'm going to go with Mac Jones. He's going to have under 219.5 yards passing because I feel like Jordan, my man Trey, I feel like they about to shut this boy down. This is where I'm starting it. Devin Singletary, over 59.5 yards. So he's going to get that 60. I need him to get that 60. Ramondre Stevenson, I don't think we're going to shut him down like he's going, he's not going to have 10 yards rushing. I think he's going to hit that, that 50. So I feel like he's going to have over the 49.5, and I need Diggs to hit at least 70. So over 69.5 yards. Is this you think I'm gonna hit this or no? And then B, what you betting tomorrow?
I agree with everything other than that Ramondre Stevenson bet is very difficult. It depends on if they shy away from running the ball once they start losing. Because I think they're going to be
I love
down.
You. No,
if they take the Aaron Rodgers approach and just hand the ball off even when they're losing, like that is what it is. But
I love you. Yo, go ahead, man. You said they gonna start losing. I love it. Go ahead. My bad.
That's how I see the game going. I think early he's not going to run very well. And then it depends on if they want to just keep pounding the ball like Oregon State did against Oregon to win the Civil War. They literally didn't throw the ball.
Had to throw that out there, didn't you?
Had to. Let's get it. Beaver Nation.
All right. Well, some of these predictions are coming in now. We got 24-20 Bills by my man Dan Buffalo Freddy. Shout out to Buffalo Freddy. We got Daniel says 31-16 Bills win, so double-digit wins coming in. Triggs is saying 10-point win, 34, or I'm hoping he's saying it's the Bills, 34-24. Where do you see? How do you see this game playing out? I know the last couple of times we played them has been blowouts, and you kind of just said that, but how do you see this game playing out?
It could go one of two ways. If we start out hot running the football, then I like that 28-10 scoreline that he just popped up. However, like these in the garbage time scores, I can never account for. If we're unable to score early on in the game, then I'm looking at like a 20-13, 23-13 type of scoreline, with the exception of a garbage time field goal or garbage time touchdown.
All right. Well, give me your Josh Allen prediction, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, get it out of here. If y'all still are looking for more content, join Jerry Scouch, the Big O, and Sarah Larson tonight. They're doing a 3-man rush directly following Hump Day Hotline at 9:00. So make sure you stick around on the Buffalo Rumblings podcast, Vidcast Network, and check them out. But go ahead.
18 for 29, 295 yards, 90 yards rushing.
Wow. It's close to what my man just dropped here. He said 23-36, 296 and 2 touchdowns. That's very close. You got similar. You had a few less completions for him, but yeah, that sounds about right.
I think Gabe in the second half. Look for Gabe and Isaiah McKenzie to have big games. A lot of crossing routes, a lot of nice play actions coming through. That's what I think he's going to get most of his yards, and that's why I got it low.
Man, what is it about McKenzie and the Patriots? It seems like when he plays the Patriots, this dude just turns into, you know what I mean? Like he just turns into an all-pro receiver. And it's like, keep this energy all year for me, dog. What's happening?
Well, he's not like him and Cole literally do different things. And Cole is a zone beater. He's going to find the gap. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to lay down and get his 5. Isaiah is a man beater. And when you have a guy that can run as fast as he can across the field on a play action when you're running the ball well, when Patriots like to play man, and when they play man against Isaiah, you're not going to stay in front of him. So I think that he has a big game again tomorrow unless they change up their defense.
All right, I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Buffalo Bills are gonna. I think the first quarter is gonna be frustrating for Bills fans. Like I feel like it might be a slow start as far as like those first couple drives. But I think the Patriots might either put a couple field goals on the board or something like that and frustrate Bills fans. Like, why is this? But I think that second quarter and that third quarter, typically we've had a couple games where we didn't do it coming out the half. But most of the season we come out the half and we really make some good adjustments, and that's when we go in for the kill. So I feel like Josh is healthy. This is the first week that he's played or that he's practiced, and it hasn't been in a limited capacity. He's been in full practice, and he's relatively healthy again. So I think this is when we see Josh start to go off again.
Bills fans, do me a favor And all the Bills fans watching this, do me a favor. In that first
Mhm.
quarter, when it's 3-0 Patriots midway through the first quarter, and they're driving, they have the ball, just hashtag write it out on Twitter.
Woosah.
Don't
Hashtag write it out.
hashtag write it out on Twitter. Don't lose your head until maybe the second half if things aren't going our way. But I just don't see that happening. But first
Yeah.
quarter, don't lose your heads, please. I beg. I see
Yeah,
live on Twitter.
if it's
Damn.
late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and it's like that, then okay, let's
All right.
let's
You
get
know what I
upset.
mean?
But no, that first quarter, man, I just feel like, especially and it's in Foxborough, it is still a tough place to play. I know we've beat them, recently, but it's still a tough place to play. So, but like I said, the way I see it is, I think that Josh is going to have a day. So I'm actually going to give him a little bit better of a performance than you did. I'm going to say he's going to throw for like 325. 2 touchdowns in the air. I think he's going to have 2 on the ground. I think it's going to be one of those, it's going to be one of those games, and I think Devin's going to get one. So I think it's going to be like 38. We can get a field goal in there. Be like 38-17. It's going to be one of those games.
Okay, I like that too. I mean, I'm happy if they win. So
yeah,
if he get 38 points on the board, I'm good. That's good. I'm good.
I need all my parlays. So I ain't
Hell
yeah. But yo, listen, everybody. For Joe Miller, for myself, JSpenceTheKing, and my brother Jeremiah Poyer, man, I thank y'all for spending the time with me. Make sure y'all stick around. Go right into the next video and kick it with my man Big O Jerry and Sarah Larson for the 3-man rush. We out of here, man. Go Bills.